Nice to be among friends. Nice to see you all again. Even if so many of us have now joined the Society for those with free bus passes. What am I supposed to say? It's all been said. I suppose I'd perhaps do a bit of reminiscing. You know, I joined the party in 1995. A month after I joined, I found myself being a candidate in a by-election in Saddleworth. In Saddleworth, there was one UKIP member. In the 5 surrounding constituencies, there were another 5 members. It was a chaotic campaign. We had hardly any activists, and we hired a whole lot of youngsters from the local labour exchange. Oh, sorry, what do you call it now? The job centre. And we had them sitting, squatting, cross-legged on the floor upstairs in an Indian restaurant, stuffing envelopes, paying the minimum wage. It would have been done for exploitation these days. Anyway, I was terribly proud at that time to gain 549 votes and 1.3% of the poll back in 1995. Not bad at that time. But it was pretty hard work, you know, keeping the momentum up. And I remember in 1998, we in the Northwest asked for nominations for the Euro list, for our Northwest Euro list, and we got 3 responses. One was an ancient doctor from Cumberland. Another was a lady from Liverpool who was stone deaf. Both worthy characters, I might say. And the third one was me. And that was it. That was the people putting themselves up to stand for Euro elections in 1999. Well, thankfully, we were helped by a most significant event that David Lott's already mentioned, and that was the Yorkshire South Euro by-election. As he's explained, Euro by-elections in those days, well, we had them, we don't have them at all these days, but Euro MEPs were selected on the basis of a constituency vote. And we got 12% of the vote, as David has said, and he's being very modest because he actually ran the campaign. It was run against the wishes of the then leader, Michael Holmes. He said, don't bother, we'll just make ourselves look foolish. And we came out with this most wonderful vote, 12% in those days. It was a most amazing achievement. And as he said, it gave us confidence to then go forward to the 1999 Euro elections, at which Farage and Titford and Michael Holmes were elected. And we even managed to cobble together a list in the Northwest, and I was nearly elected myself. Another election I'd like to mention is the Wigan by-election in 1999 when I was a candidate. We saved our deposit then, 5.2% of the vote. Well, you might not think that's very good, but it was in those days, and it follows up with Nuttall's point from yesterday when he says, yes, we do draw votes from Labour voters, and my goodness me, we did in those days too. Fast forward a bit. 2004 Euro elections, well, you know, we're coming on to more recent history, which you'll know about, when we had 12 MEPs elected, self-included. We were helped enormously then by the exposure of fraud in the European Commission and in Eurostat, the troubles with the new currency, the euro. But they always do help us, don't they? There's always something coming out of Europe which gets into the news over here and helps us in our quest to get more people elected and to further our cause. I might just mention this weekend, surely this conference is the most significant event taking place, but there's another event taking place in Germany which is quite important. That is the German general election tomorrow for their parliament, and for the first time there is a party contesting that election, Alternative for Deutschland, who have views rather like ours. Unimaginable in Euro Germany that you should have a party standing like this. And I think this is a portent of the wave of sentiment towards or against, shall I say, the European institutions, that it can happen in Germany too. If they get 5% of the vote, they will be represented in the German parliament. It's touch and go whether they will. Like us, they don't like the euro. They're also fed up with their country bailing out the southern European countries time after time. And guess what? They also have raised the issue of immigration in Germany, unheard of before, so good luck to those people. There's one other milestone I'd like to mention, at least it appears to me a milestone, was the moment at which we achieved representation in the House of Lords, when Pearson and Willoughby de Brooke were brave enough to join this party. It gave us enormous credibility at a lean time. Just a few thoughts about my job as chairman in 2006 and 2008. Well, what was it for? It was to keep the ship steady. But part of the job, regrettably, was to cope with awkward and disagreeable members inside the party and also people outside the party. People who, within the party, have got their own agenda, or even if they agree with our objectives, have vehemently different views as to how they should be achieved. Well, sorry, that's part of the chairman's job, as every chairman before me and after me must know about. And thank you to my successors for coping with I know what you must be doing there. But I saw my role here very much as supporting Nigel, because he's the guy that's out there in the front line, getting us publicity, pushing this party forward. My job, therefore, as chairman, was to keep the troubles off his back and let him do his job, support Nigel, even if he was a bit of a handful. And I remember the months, a long period actually, of several months in 2007, where we get lots of publicity. Every Sunday, in the Sunday Times, there was something about UKIP. I'm afraid I have to tell you that it was not always complimentary or helpful in those days. But we get over these things, don't we? What about time as an MEP? Again, what was I there for? I saw my role as very much, again, supporting the party leader, also providing leadership in my region. Actually, it's quite a lousy job being an MEP. Unless, of course, you value the prestige, the glamour, the income, you're on an ego trip. Well, you shouldn't be in it if that's the case. If you're like that, we've made a mistake. But being an MEP is all this insane travelling, voting, sitting voting for hours on end like a moron. But I would make a plea, if I may just finish with this. I want to make a plea to would-be MEPs. I can do this now because voting on the selection process is closed. I can speak without fear of being accused of trying to influence it. MEPs, please understand what is your role. Understand what is your responsibility. To the foot soldiers, to the branch officers, to all those activists who sweated to put you there, and above all, to the party's objectives. And I want to make a plea to everyone else to support your MEPs, to support your councillors and your MPs when they are elected in 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm enormously heartened by UKIP's progress. We have done enormously well since I ceased to be centrally involved. Oh, I suppose you could take that two ways. UKIP connects with people because we have policies that appeal. But above all, I think we connect because those policies and our whole attitude is based on values of conviction, integrity, and honesty, values which are sorely lacking in all the other parties. Ladies and gentlemen, our country needs UKIP. Thanks to you all, and keep it up.